Hey, we are live. Good evening. It is 7:02 Boogie with the Bull. Tuesday night live, the pre-debate edition. Jen Woodruff will be with us momentarily. You see the link on the screen. If you want to take it, put it into Chrome. Go through whatever you need to do to get into the studio. Come on tonight and share your views on whether you support Harris and Walz or you support Trump and Vance, or John F. Kennedy and an undisclosed running mate. Although I guess he's not going to run. Uh, Jonathan Thomas from the American Political Party, who has yet to declare who his vice president will be. You could be voting for him. The most important thing you're going to hear from me is the same most important thing you have heard from me over the last week of broadcasts. It is very important, if you are registered to vote, that you get to the polls and you vote. If you can go vote early and that will make it easier on you, go vote early. If you can't vote early, then it's your job to get in your car and or get a ride, arrange for a ride to go to the polls and vote. In the past, I know local cab companies will usually send a free cab sometimes, or Uber. If you download the Uber app, Uber will send you a free Uber one way, and then you'll have to make arrangements to get another one to go home, I believe. But at least you can get there if you want to. And I'm sure that your neighbors who are going to vote, if you're handicapped or disabled in any way and you need help getting to the polls, maybe they'll take you in their car when they go. I'm supposed to go with my son when he goes to vote because I don't drive anymore. But it is very important. There is no excuse as far as I am concerned. If you watch Boogie with the Bull, there's absolutely no excuse for you not going to the polls and voting, period, especially if you're registered, because a lot of people in the country right now who are not registered are gunning to try to vote anyway. Anyway, the Boogie with the Bull live chat on the Dave Globin profile is open, so you're more than welcome to come join us there. The Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel has a live chat, and you can also be part of the broadcast there. If you're watching on Facebook, please take the broadcast and share it everywhere you can. If you're watching on YouTube, please take it and share it everywhere you can. That's all I'm going to tell you. But we're coming down to the wire. The absolute wire. It is time, America, to vote and lock in, hopefully, the direction you want the United States of America to go. We can either go with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz taking over for Joe Biden and continuing the Bidenomics or Biden prophecies, whatever you want to call it, that will hopefully trash America beyond repair for them. Or we can bring back President Donald John Trump, who served from 2016 to 2020. Most of us believe he was elected in 2020, but I'm not going to argue that point tonight. And he's ripe and ready to come back and make America great again, get us going where we need to be going. So that's who I'm looking at. Donald Trump, you have to look at him, and if you believe the 34 indictments were right, if you believe hush money was paid, if you believe the indictments in the House, the Democrat House, then maybe he's not the person for you. If you don't believe any of that crap happened, if you don't believe that he was the one who tried to set up the January 6th debacle, and you trust the man who has told you what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, where he's going to do it, when he's going to do it, and he's going to just get up there and do it because we want him to do it. or you believe the governor of Minnesota, who has been accused of stolen valor, saying, pictures showing that he had a automatic weapon in his hand and he was going into battle. And we have said on this broadcast several times that sergeant majors in the United States Army do not go into battle. They sit where it is a safe place for them to be, and they give out the orders to fight the battles. That's number one. Number two, do you really want a vice president who has been subpoenaed by the House Education and Workforce Committee to produce documentation on where $250 million in COVID-19 relief funds went to? We all know it went to a group called Feeding Our Future. The only problem is you fed their future all right. They went out and bought fancy cars. They bought property in Kenya and Turkey. A lot of good that did here in the United States of America. If you want those kind of things to continue, then vote Walz and Kamala Harris. The other thing that is in the news lately is whether or not Kamala Harris's involvement in a accident that happened 13 years ago and left a young lady in a wheelchair for life actually did happen and did involve Kamala Harris. Was she driving the vehicle? Was she in the vehicle? No. It's time for her to come clean and confirm either it's bogus, it's fake, it's the same kind of crap the Democrats played on Donald Trump. Somebody's playing it on her, and or whether or not it is true. And the Harris staff snubbed it at the time, kept it out of the media because they may have intimidated Ashley's mother to keep from reporting it at the time. Ashley's mother is no longer with us, and now Ashley feels that it is time to report this and move on. And of course she did, because Kamala Harris is now the Democrat candidate for the president of the United States. I apologize for the fact that the screen is a little washed out today. Having trouble positioning the light to where we're not getting too much light on the screen, so I look a little washed out, and I apologize for that. Let me see if that helps. Well, that helps a little bit. That helps a little bit, but not really. So it kind of looks like a ghost is here doing today's Boogie with the Bull broadcast. Jed Woodruff is supposed to join me momentarily. Hang on. There we go. Robin Brunson is watching in the Boogie with the Bull live chat on the Dave Wilson profile over here on Facebook. Come join her. And as I said, today's broadcast is I want people to come in. If you're voting for Harris and Walz, then come in here and tell me why. If you're voting for Trump and Vance, come in here and tell me why. If you're not voting, come in here and tell me why. I'm going to yell at you, because if you're registered, you have a duty to vote. And if you're not registered, you really have a duty to get registered and vote. And in some states, I think you can actually register and vote on the same day. So it is all up to you. This election is in your hands. And I'm going to say it again. I've said it before. If you don't vote in this election, there is a chance that you will not be able to vote in elections again. It doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be any cheating involved on either side, and the candidate that you did not vote for will win. But it just means that I have a belief, other people have a belief, that something will happen between now and election day that will cause the Biden administration to declare martial law, and that will take care of the election. It doesn't elect Kamala Harris. It keeps Joe Biden in for a second term, I guess, because there'd have to be an election and Kamala Harris would have to be elected. So I don't know for sure if the Democrats might actually not have an incident that could launch us into martial law, other than it would just keep Joe Biden going until whatever happens, and we know whether or not elections are going to be happening in this country ever again. So if you don't vote, you can't bitch. That's all I got to say about that. A lot of people are probably watching their local news where they can get it, or reading their local news all over the internet. I'm sure there are plenty of stories about the debate. The debate is at 9 o'clock tonight on the ABC television network. So go to abc.com and you can probably find your local station, or you can watch it on abc.com, probably on abcnews.com, probably on abcondemand.com, probably on cspan.com. I think you can reserve it, and they'll send you when the link opens, or they'll send you the link when the broadcast opens. You can go over and watch it, but pick a spot and watch it. I haven't yet decided where I'm going to watch it. ABC is an option, ABC is probably the best option because ABC is hosting it anyway. So get their pre-debate analysis, post-debate analysis with David Muir and whoever else is there. David Muir is one of the moderators for the Blessed event tonight. So that's about all I have to tell you. But it's too early to end the broadcast. We'll wait for Jen another few minutes or so to see if we can get her on to share her commentary. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper says if Kamala Harris wins his state, she's the next president of the United States. Well, good for you, Cooper. Prove Governor Cooper wrong. If you live in Carolina and vote North Carolina and vote for Trump Vance. Let me see. Scroll through. FBI Tampa Division launches criminal investigation into St. Pete nonprofit missing $100 million. Well, there's that kind of news, that kind of crap all over the news today. Student loan pause for $8 million could last a year, suggests court schedule with loan forgiveness in limbo. Mr. Biden, pull your head out of your rear end and realize there is no such thing as student loan forgiveness, okay? You're not forgiving the people who didn't pay their loans back. You're forgiving the American taxpayer for having to pay their loans off, and that's not right. And I hope that is one of the reasons why every American citizen registered to vote votes for Donald Trump. There's no reason to forgive your student loan debt. Maybe rework it at a lower interest rate, which will hopefully cut your payment. But even that doesn't really matter because you just don't want to pay your loan back. Okay? Name another kind of loan that you could take out and all of a sudden decide you're just not going to pay back. Decide you're not going to pay your car loan, they take your car away. Decide you're not going to pay your house, your mortgage, they take that away. Bernie Sanders says go higher. Sanders urges Harris to raise 28% capital gains tax proposal higher. Well, you keep doing that, Bernie. President Biden proposed a 39.6% capital gains tax, and in 2016, Sanders campaigned for the Democratic presidential nomination with an even higher proposed rate of 54.2%, just under taking half of your capital gains away from you. Wrong. They need to stop doing this. While he has endorsed Harris, Sanders has offered lukewarm support for her economic proposals, which have been more moderate in order to appeal to a wider coalition of voters. Well, why? You would pay for your vote in higher capital gains taxes. If you own a home, if you've owned a home for 150 years and you plan on giving it to your family when you retire, If that home is now worth, say you bought that home for $25, and now it's worth $500,000, you're going to pay increased capital gains on $475,000. Now you haven't even sold your home. Then when you sell your home, you're going to pay increased capital gains because now you have a home that's worth $500,000 and you sold it for $500,000. So wake up, people. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. That's all I can say. Wake up. Wake up. If you don't wake up now, by the time you wake up, it's going to be too late. Just too late. Too late. Too late. That's all I can tell you. Too late. Too late. If you want your child to respect you as they get older, say goodbye to these 7 habits. Let's see if I can read them to you really quickly. 1, being overly authoritative. Get rid of that. 2, not practicing what you preach, not telling your kids to do something and not actually being willing to do it yourself. Dismissing their interests. Do not ever dismiss the interests of your children. They may not be the same as you. They may not be the same as you, but you know what? They're their own individual person. Lead by example. Exactly what Michael Anthony says in the Boogie with the Bull live chat. Michael, if you want, I'll send you a link and you're more than welcome to come on. I know that you, I believe, have an 8 o'clock broadcast planned. And I'm hoping to wrap this up by 8 o'clock so that everybody leaves the Boogie Dome and goes to the Michael Anthony Facebook page and watches and shares that broadcast. Let's see. It only gave 4. Scrolling through as fast as I can. And it only gave... Wait a minute. There, neglecting promises. If you promise something, if you say you're going to do it, do it. Because if you raise a child and every time you promise them you were going to do something, you didn't do it, odds are they're going to pass that on to their children, your grandchildren, and it's just going to keep going. Don't promise things you can't do or that you're not going to do. Don't tell your kids you're going to buy them that cool new video game unit because you want to. Or don't tell them that you're going to help them save for it. And then all of a sudden say you're not going to go ahead and do it. I got that wrong. Michael Anthony says no show tonight. I thought I read somewhere that he had something at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. But I must have read it wrong. It was 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Please watch Michael tomorrow. Everybody on Facebook that does a broadcast, everybody on YouTube that does a broadcast is going to have some kind of a 9/11 broadcast. Let me put this. Let me actually finish these up. Avoid difficult conversations. Don't avoid difficult conversations. You show your kids that they can bring anything to your attention that they want because you bring things that you want to their attention. Always solving their problems. I think the best thing we can do as parents and or grandparents is advise our children, our grandchildren, maybe point them in the direction we think they want to go. But make sure they're involved in the problem. If they have a problem, if they come home from work and say, my boss sucks, I got a review, I got a pay cut, I lost hours, give them suggestions that might resolve that problem. You can help them, but don't go down to the job and yell at the boss and blah 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 because they didn't take care of your child. No, help your child solve their problems, but don't be the one who solves the problem. Talk with them as much as they want, as much as you want. Like I said, maybe even gear them in the direction you think is best, or even say, hey, I understand what you just told me, but hey, I think based on my experience when I was your age, think about this, think about that, think about this. Let them, like I say on Boogie with a Bull, take out the pad of paper and let them make notes as you're talking, and then let them go over their notes. And 9 out of 10 times, I would imagine they will be able to figure it out. Not showing them respect. Well, if you expect your kids to show you respect, and I don't mean just because you beat them senseless every time you take out a belt or switch, you beat the hell out of them. No. Show them respect. Show them how you expect to be treated, and show them that is how you will treat them. And we all have that problem where, we'll sit down at the table, we're just yelling and screaming at everybody about whatever it is. No. Show them respect. Talking to your kid, you're going to ground your kid because you don't respect them because they came home at 6 o'clock in the morning and you don't want to hear anything about why they came home at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes, don't respect them because of the reason they came home at 6 o'clock in the morning. But, it's tough being parents these days. It really is. You do something wrong, you go to your school board, you get labeled a domestic terrorist. You go talk to your kid's teacher, you get labeled a domestic terrorist. You get upset because your kid comes home and says, the boy comes home and says, I want to be a girl. Your girl comes home and says, I want to be a boy. Your youngest child comes home and says, I'm a cat. You get respect from people you show respect, because people say respect needs to be earned. You want me to respect you, show me respect. I'm not always right. That meme I have says, watch Dave. Dave is right. I don't know, something about it. Dave knows everything, but when I don't, I make stuff up fast. Well, that's true. But the point is, if you want someone to respect you, you have to show them some kind of respect, the same amount of respect. Michael, do you want to come on the broadcast? I will send you. Actually, I'll send you a link anyway. And even if you come on your black box, that's fine with me. I think I can actually send you a link to your black box. Let me try. And if I can't, then I will type it in manually. But let's see if it will let me send you. No, it will not let me send you a link. So we will cut this screen back out, get rid of this screen, and we will pull this out. And I'll put the logo. I'll actually put it on the screen because that way it's big enough I can read it. Well, I'm trying to type it to Michael, but I will send it to Michael. But anybody else watching, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to tap the link, follow whatever commands StreamYard puts you through. And then when I see you in the green room, I will bring you on. But let's do this. Let me go to Michael Anthony. One of these days, after we win the $800 million Mega Millions jackpot, and we'll have producers that do all this stuff for me. But for now, it's more fun to watch live radio. StreamYard.com. Oh, come on. .com/ Then we got to go up here and look. RS8 Alpha 3F3 WJ2 WJ drop this one, and we got to drop this one. No. Okay. Michael Adley, that is the link. If it works, you're more than welcome to come on. We're on Donna's Chromebook, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work. I'm looking at it. That is, in fact, the right link. I sent it to Jen. Hopefully Jen Woodruff will join us momentarily. If she does not, then we'll get her on another time. Right. You can't find me on Messenger, and I can't find you on Messenger. And I don't know if that is Facebook blocking me from sending it to you. I mean, I can message you. We talk all the time. I write you a book all the time. But for some strange reason, when it comes to StreamYard using Messenger to send the link, I can't send it to you. So take it off the screen, or it is, I sent it to you on Messenger. If that works and you are able to get in here, you are more than welcome to try and do it. If you don't want to come in tonight, that is actually okay. You can speak in the live chat if you wish. I'm going to kind of do my best to just keep this going till about 8 o'clock, hoping that other people will come into the live chat and they will give us their view on who they're voting for and why. I apologize for the really washed out screen tonight on this laptop. I don't have any extra light aiming on it. It's actually very dim in this side of the bedroom at night, so I'm not 100% sure why it is. My face is all washed out. It could be our internet. I don't know. It's raining. It rained pretty good here, so maybe the internet connections are all wet. But I don't know. Robin is here. Robin Brunson, who watches a lot. And you're welcome to speak about who and what you're going to do. Well, let me try it, Michael. Let me go back and see. I missed it. There it is. Let me try the fun of watching live radio. I got to get out of this screen and get into this one. And we'll send it from here. Actually, I can't find it. There it is. All right. We will send it to, where did we put it? Put it up on the screen so I can see it. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock talks. TALKS at G. Whoops, I can't type. gmail.com. All right, link. And we'll type it in one more time. STREAMYARD.com/ get rid of the capitals there. Y and S. If you look at the screen, RS8 Alpha 3. There it is. RS8 Alpha 3 Frank 3 WJ2. Okay, Michael, it is there. You should have it. It came from boogiewiththebull@gmail.com because that's the account I had open on Gmail. So try and see if If you got it, I see it, and it's loading. I see it. It opened for me, so you should be able to use it if you want. And like I said, uh, I hoped I hoped a lot of people would be watching tonight. I didn't think that people might not be. They're eating dinner with their families. They're getting ready to watch the debate or working. I did an hour this afternoon to remind people, hey,
Hi,
Jen,
Kate. Hi.
Jen, the homeschool mom Woodruff.
Hi.
Jen is so talented that not only does she do broadcasts with just about everybody on Facebook, she's got that new broadcast with Randy Rhodes
Yeah, about that.
called Straight Talk with Jen and Randy, or Straight Talk with Randy and Jen. I
Awesome.
don't know. It changes all the time. Straight Talk with everybody.
It's always Jen and then Randy. Bless his heart. Thank you.
Delilah, that was very rude. I'm
Michael
sorry.
Anthony is
Michael
here.
Anthony is here.
He's in
Mr.
the
Anthony,
house.
tell Jen in 100 million words or more who you're voting for and why.
You're asking me?
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but hey, you never know.
I'm voting for God.
Oh,
You're
that's
voting
good.
for God.
I'm voting for God. Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't made a
He's
mistake
he's
yet.
my he's my savior. You know, the
He's a,
source. He will guide me no matter what happens.
that's awesome.
You're voting for God. I like that.
You can, yeah.
It's a conscious thing. You
It
know,
is.
it's
Awesome.
it's like that stars feeding type of analogy of thought. Because we all want the best, right?
Right.
We live
Right.
within the worst. We want better, and we hope we're heard. You know, a funny thing, and not to bring religion into it, but I came across a couple posts and I didn't know how to take them. And that's unusual for me. But, you know, people were bringing up a lot of negativity, of course, about religion as they do. And we've seen so much happen over the last 4 years that was just appalling of, suppressing churches from having masses and supporting people and people supporting their religions, etc. And I see so much negativity coming now into play in a different way. And my thought was, after reading the commentary of this post about Jesus, um, that I didn't know how to really respond to it because the post, I don't remember exactly what it read, but I'll give you a gist, I guess, but it within where I'm going is the fact that, Jesus never rebelled against the evil, even though they put him to death,
Mhm.
nor did his father.
This is
And
true.
it is true. It's a fact of what we understand and know by what has been written in the book. And when I base my analogy that way, I'm thinking I put my vote towards God. I put my everything towards the source of the universe, because that in itself will give me my guidance. And I guess that's where my mindset kind of lies right now because I was never so appalled at looking at so many derogatory memes and posts that came from this group. And I don't know why somebody invited me to it. I thought it was in representation of support of all that is good. And it seemed to be of all that was negative about religion.
Yeah.
But, we have that part of what we're fighting against also. We all know that. But
Mm.
all we can do is rely upon what will come. We can't control it. We can fight for it. We can vote for it. And we'll do our best at it. After that, it's all up to the greater power.
That's good.
That is very true. And
Right.
Jen is voting for her daughter-in-law. Congratulations on
Thank you.
the wedding vows. I know weddings can be crazy.
For
to plan.
Oh,
Right.
they are. They are. I agree. I
Michael
witness
too.
and I witness and watch that stuff all the
That's
time.
true.
No, not all the time.
Father Michael did a wedding recently.
Yeah, I did another
Wow.
one. I did another one. Yeah,
Yep.
Awesome.
yeah. I
You
never.
know,
It was
go
crazy
ahead.
too. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop, but it was a very most unusual. When people come up with a creative narrative for their wedding, and
Yeah.
like I forget how they uh, analyze what they do, but this one was all about the miracle weed. The bouquet was made out of giant buds the size of my arms. I kid you
Oh,
not. No matter where I stood, I smelt it. But you know what? They truly loved each other. They were together
wow.
for 13 years, and in the eyes of God, they wanted to be married. And I couldn't say no to them, and I won't judge them because
Oh, I love it.
we're not judged.
We're not.
Right.
But I never in my life seen a corsage made out of one of those things before. No matter where I stood, I thought I was in my head. I said to my daughter, who was my reader for me that day, I said, Kim, I might pass out. You might be
Oh,
driving
you'll be
daddy
happy.
home.
You'll be
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I,
That's funny.
I can just imagine everybody, including the guys, were standing there waiting to catch the bride's bouquet. There was probably a fight. Everybody
That's
wanted to catch it.
Well,
that's all
you know what?
right.
It's really funny that you brought that up because I wasn't there for that part of the event. I wasn't. I did
Okay.
leave, but I said to I texted my daughter, and because I knew she was still there, and I said to her, I says, so tell me, who caught the bouquet? She goes, oh, you know what? That one got put into a box, and she threw a normal one. I was like, go figure.
Ah,
I'm so glad I
Yeah.
left.
Well, you could probably get in a lot of trouble, I'm sure, if you did that, and say the car, that you're driving home because you caught the bouquet that's sitting on the front seat of your car. You're looking at it. You get pulled over for speeding, and
you're like, it's not mine.
that
It's a
that, that could
bouquet.
that could be an embarrassing situation.
You
Well, all
know,
they had.
I
Yeah. Go ahead,
love
Jen.
I love the wedding you did. It was the only one I ever saw. Besides, this is hilarious. But the first one, and the only one I ever saw you do, was when you officiated one. You were not on a horse, but the couple was, and I
Right.
was. It was fantastic. It was fascinating, and the whole time I'm like, wow, those horses were trained so well because I was scared to death that they were like gonna run away, and I'm thinking, no, no. But it was fantastic. That was great. Good for you.
Yeah. But you know what? It's amazing that you get to experience everybody else's ideas that way for just an hour or two. That was Summer and Trevor. They were another great couple. They're living off
Awesome.
land. They raise horses, sheep, goats. They have dogs. I mean, very good people with good sense and workmanship about their lives and direction that they want their lives to be in. It was a privilege actually to marry those two. It's always a privilege to marry anybody if they call upon you and ask you to share in that special moment. And that's why I always say I utilize this, and I don't know if anybody else in the world does it, but I make them commit until all ends of time. And they look at me when I do that because they don't expect that little wording to be put in there at the end. And
Wow.
they look at me and they do repeat it, and
And
I
they're
hold
like,
them to
that's
it.
a long time.
Kid-
Oh, I
Kids,
love
to,
it.
kids today don't kind of understand that. It meant when our parents agreed to be married until death do us part. That's
Right.
what they meant. Now,
Yeah.
Exactly.
but to me, I didn't mean to cut you off, but to me,
Nah.
death, death shouldn't get you out of your marriage
Right.
because when we die and we move up to the next dimension or whatever it is they want to call it, the next life, the next.
The Yeah, the
whatever,
higher
whatever the bars
ascension.
are, and I'm thinking my 87-year-old mother is looking forward to being in heaven with her husband of on earth of almost 65 years, you know,
Hmm.
uh, and but I guess it gets confusing because after someone dies, maybe you get married again, you know. So I mean, I don't know, and I don't believe God believes in multiple marriages. Well, maybe God believes in multiple marriages in heaven, you know.
Well,
Maybe in heaven every girl can marry Elvis. I don't know. That's if Elvis is in heaven.
Finally. No, I'm
Maybe
kidding.
maybe if that's maybe if Elvis is in heaven. And yeah, my brain is still working on that broadcast, folks. Like I said, uh, excuse me, Jen, because I'm going to say a nasty word, but it's either where the fuck have you been? We thought you were dead, or you're dead, or yeah, you're dead. Where the fuck have you been? And it's just going to be going through a lot of people because I get tired of reading posts on Facebook that give me the impression that JFK Jr. is still alive. I'm getting tired of reading posts that not only say John F. K. Sr. is alive at well over 100 years old, but he's still spot on like he was when he was president. And and it's sad that these people can't come forward. The pastor, I forget where it is, Pastor Bill, Pastor Bob. I think it's Pastor Bob. Who
Bob.
Bob? I've seen pictures of Bob and President Trump, and Bob looks like Elvis in his late 80s or 90s.
Who
You
knows?
know, I mean, how you think Elvis would look? He's he's not wearing the rhinestone cape and all that, but he's wearing a cool looking rhinestone jacket. He's got a beautiful medallion. I want to see what it is. But a beautiful medallion hanging from his neck, and he looks like Elvis. Looking
Sounds
at
like
me,
him, walks like him, talks
right,
like him. It's
picture
Elvis.
with Trump. He's looking at me, going, "You're a fucking idiot." Excuse me, Jen. If you think I'm dead, I can't tell you where I am. And I always thought that means he couldn't tell me where he was because we all were led to believe that Elvis was some kind of secret agent.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't die. Maybe the government moved him somewhere to protect him.
I think
And
Frank Sinatra had a little bit to do with that.
is Frank still with us?
No,
It's a secret. I'm
no,
kidding.
No,
no.
but I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, is Frank in the ground dead, or is Frank in the ground, or is Frank off with his Italian family, well protected somewhere?
well, let's just say his Italian family controlled his well-being of life and uh, his status in the world and his popularity. They had a lot to do with it, and um, he knew them. He worked with them. He worked amongst them, and let's face it, that's why he was in Vegas so long.
Yeah,
But I mean, how do you conclude a lot of these things? Well, I can tell you that I've had conversations with a man in particular who goes by JFK Jr., who put out a book called Stolen Identity, who explains the system of the My Labs and Secret Service protection programs, as well as the Secret Service through the White House. Why he was removed from his mother, who his family, the Onassis, truly are. They are part of a bloodline, truthfully, money, billionaires, and they had more power than the president once upon a time. And of
Wow.
course, when JFK married Jackie, um, you know, que sera, Doris Day, whatever will be. Um,
Right.
uh, I'm saying that because there's a connection to her, and that's
Wow.
true. The same is with Marilyn Monroe. And if you think about this, look at all that's been removed or all that's always happened, whether it's in football, basketball, famous people. They died more in plane crashes and by accident and suicide than any other network of people alive.
Wow.
Think about it, really. I mean, look,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, all these people. I mean, anybody, Cody, the basketball player, anybody that had a different type of analogy or voice. And Vanilla Ice learned that himself. He truly did. Somebody else did. I really have talked to him.
Yeah.
He had to sign over all his rights to his music to the dark web Illuminati.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
when they come at you hard and threaten you with death, look at Tupac. I mean, look what happened to these people that wanted nothing to do with the other side of the ritualistic people. So,
Mm.
I mean, it puts us in a place of saying, yeah, but these possibilities are endless. Are all of them true? I don't know, but I can tell you, I talked to also a lady by the name of Sue, and I did a show with Sue on JFK because she was closest to him. The thing that I don't care for is about some people who do shows, they
Mhm.
don't want you getting close to who they know.
Oh, please.
Oof.
And that happens a lot. Like, because I have somebody on my show, don't contact them, don't talk to them, don't ask them to be on your show. And I'm a seeker of things. And if I see something that I believe makes connections, I go after it.
Right.
I enjoy doing the show with her, but what she's doing is controlling his own future because
Oh.
she will not let other people get to him to have him on shows, to get his message out, to get his book out stronger. And,
Mm-mm.
I walk away from people like that because I don't have a choice. But I was fortunate enough to have some conversations. And I can tell you there is a man alive who brings forth a lot of information, including what he calls the ear. And he says you cannot change his theory of what he was told by people that when you look at a man's ear and look at their father's ear, you will see an identical twin.
Oh.
So people look at these analogies, but the only thing I look at is the information, and his information is very strong. It goes into Montauk, it goes into Hollywood. This guy was on TV shows working under a different name because his handlers gave him a different name, and John stepped into place. John was a stand-in for him, a handpicked whatever
Wow.
person. So all I can tell anybody is go read the book. It's pretty fascinating. And
Yeah.
if anybody can truly get to him where he's not worried because he does go through what I feel is some types of ADHD and so forth, be it
Mhm.
all these nicknames for paranormal, it's sad, but his information matches up to what we have learned about a lot of the Montauk projects and different scenarios of handlers and human trafficking. And he was part of that. He was placed into it, part of it. And if you think about his
Oh.
family, as he says, they were all killed. He had no choice but to live the life or to die. And in certain cases, he nearly died several times due to torture and different things that have occurred to him. But again, I can only suggest to anybody, I can send you pictures with him, on with him, not with him in person, and where we did a show. But I gave him my word I would not release it until he said when.
Right.
Mm.
And so
I
far, he hasn't said when.
I have this recurring. It's not a dream that at night. It's maybe if it goes off for a second or my mind wanders. I have this recurring thought pattern, I guess you could call it, that shortly after President Trump is inaugurated and is back being president, I don't know where in Washington, D.C. it could land, but somewhere in Washington, D.C., like
Mm-mm.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, this big beautiful, I don't know, maybe USS Enterprise or whatever you want to call it, is going to come back and it's going to drop all of these people. That's going to be the answer to where have they been. It's going to
Oh
bring,
my.
it's going to bring them back.
You're
And
talking of yeah. Everybody's picking up that gist off. Do you remember the movie, Jen, or the promotion of movie of when the plane came back that was missing for the 15 years?
yeah,
Oh my
well,
God.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, the
That's
TV show.
exactly why that's why that film was made. It's who's going to walk off the plane.
But
Oh, that's
you know,
amazing.
and I haven't figured out or gotten the knowledge, or if it's somebody somewhere else putting the thought in my head. It's not like they were captured and taken away. It's they left where they were and came here, and then we think they died. They went home. So now all that's going to happen is they're going to come back and let us know they're in perfect health and they've been alive and they've been watching us. And maybe,
Oh, watchers. No.
maybe there is no big bloody Armageddon. You know, you can't kill yourself. You know, everybody gets to go up the elevator that Jesus says is okay, and everybody else stays here and gets tortured for eternity. Maybe there isn't any. Maybe there isn't any of that. That is part of religion that I think they teach you because they want to keep you fearing God or whoever the religious leaders that you have to deal with. But these people like John and Elvis and Frank and
Marilyn
Marilyn Monroe and
right?
Princess Diana.
Oh, good one.
You know,
And she's actually mentioned in John's and JFK Jr.'s book. She actually is where he spent time with her because actually Jackie was a cousin to the Queen.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, London Bridge is falling down. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that Queen. So yeah,
oh,
it's pretty
that
amazingly funny, you know how it
that through
works.
her is that through her maiden family, the Bouviers, or is that through the Kennedy family or the Onassis family?
Onassis family.
Okay,
She is
Wow.
born as an Onassis. You know,
she was
that's she was born as an Onassis. That's what her bloodline is.
okay.
And he was related to part of the elite. He was actually involved with them. We're
Yeah,
going back to a different era of political
yeah.
and wealth, but yeah, but again, they got rid of him. How many things that people never knew of how many people they got rid of or went missing because they didn't even fake a death? They just went off the map somewhere, and
Ooh,
most yeah, they just disappear. I mean, like I'm gonna do someday. I'm just
No,
gonna
you're
disappear.
not going to disappear.
oof.
No,
That,
I will.
that's
It
sad.
will. Well, you know what? We can all fight to the end, but we have to fight for our own end.
Yeah,
And there's
Right.
got to be a time and place where you look at life and say, I want to keep going, but maybe my body just isn't going to let me. And when you
Wow.
come nearer to those times and your kids ask you questions and you got to make preparations, you got to be ready. And I can't wait to walk down from my house to the river and just throw a fishing rod in the water and sit there and be a normal man.
Wow. That's a good point.
I don't think
That's
I
deep.
don't think I've ever been normal in 62 years.
I don't think there is such a thing. Maybe normal is just a dream we all have. That would be
I
crazy.
mean,
Yeah.
there there was a in my case there was a kid growing up
Hmm.
who knew at 5 years old I was going to be on radio. That's what I was going to do.
Jesus.
I wanted to be one of the little people that lived inside your radio because that's how I thought radio worked. People lived inside of it. That was
Oh,
their home.
that's cute.
And that
Right.
was their job. But
Dave, the test tube baby, live from the back of your antique radio.
That's funny.
so I was the guy who bought the Radio Shack. Used to have that little AM transmitter kit that if you were lucky, you built it, and you might have been able to be heard on the house next at the house next door. I was heard
Right.
on several houses next door. So,
That's funny.
but
You guys are great.
yeah, but Jen, your
Yeah.
thoughts? Where do you think? Where do you think we are?
Oh, what are you asking me about?
Any one of the thoughts? My biggest thing is often on broadcast, it seems either the hosts don't let you talk or you don't talk a lot. So talk.
Oh, I can. I have too much to say. I could really dominate it,
Say
and I don't
anything
want
you
to.
say
Oh gosh,
anything. Say anything you want.
you're great. No, I just don't like to dominate the time. But
You're allowed
seriously,
to dominate as much time as you want.
you're
Because when
awesome.
other
That's why I
people
came up
when
with
other
my own
people are
show.
talking, when other people are talking, I'm not talking. And if other people are talking for long enough, that's when I can go over to YouTube and I can share from YouTube to Street Lock and all the other places that I want to get us
Right.
live on. But no,
Oh,
never
you're
never be afraid to talk, never be afraid to dominate time. Talk.
yeah. I'm
That's
such a
why I asked
controlling
you to go
person.
on.
You're awesome. No, I just like to take everyone's like opinions and put them together and
Okay.
make this collage in my head. But no, what comes out is this. Okay, about the Elvis thing, I just joke about it and I tell people, well, his name does spell lives. So maybe that's cute, maybe because you can change the letters. I know it's stupid. I'll stop.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
kidding.
I just you as
It's
you were saying that, I saw that in my mind
LIV. I
for the
know. Well, I
first time. I've never
seriously,
noticed that.
I know. I think, bless his heart, I think he did pass and they do the best they can, and that's where he is. I don't know if he's in heaven or hell. That's his choice and God's. And
I don't think I don't I think we get it wrong. I think I think when you get to heaven you're gonna find out when you think you need some time away because you misbehaved in heaven, you got a timeshare in hell. You go
yeah,
to
who wants
you go
that?
see
No,
Jeff Goldblum at apartments.com and
right?
have a
Oh my
timeshare in
gosh.
hell.
No, I think the other things are fascinating that we're talking about. I love Michael's productions he does on Bigfoot and the aliens. It's fascinating. It is. And it takes our minds off politics because sometimes that gets depressing because we all feel trapped. And my biggest frustration about that is when reporters go on the street and they ask people questions, and these poor people don't understand what we really want, but we want freedom. We know that. And then they start asking really deep questions, and these people are not prepared for it. And these people asking questions, the questionnaire will say something like, so you want to get rid of this high you we get paid too much, you want to get rid of the high wages? And they're like, yeah, it's too much because now it's just corporate. And I'm like, they don't know what they're saying, but I kind of feel it. So I boiled it down to the heart of we the people in the Constitution. I think we want three. I'm confident. I don't think. I'm confident. We want three things. And that's what the founding fathers were establishing with the Constitution. All we want is this. And we fought for it twice now, Revolutionary War. And then when they came back in 1812, the three things we want, and this is all we want from every politician, from Trump, from Kamala, and neither of them can boil it down, but Trump is closest. We want lower taxes. We want smaller government and less regulations. If we had that with Joe, we would be able to drill, we would be able to produce our own oil, and there would be no such thing right now as the grocery stores price gouging. That is so stupid. I don't think they're price gouging, and if they are, they're idiots. They are raising their prices because the truck drivers cannot afford to deliver the eggs like for the same price as they used to. I shouldn't have chosen eggs because eggs, that's a whole other problem. They have the whole H1N1 problem going on. So what do? Oh, this chicken's sick. Let's firebomb the whole thing. And that
But
sucked because it
I looked at that later and said there weren't chickens that were sick. We just had too many chickens, and the price of eggs would you think would drop when you have too many chickens. So you get rid of chickens. However, you have to get rid of them.
no, you just
And
lower the price and get rid of the
well,
eggs.
that's what you think you would do, because I'm sure every bean counter at the oil companies who says, guys, if we just lowered gas to cost plus 150%, which is, like I said, my father used to set his prices in the coffee bar. So say it costs you a nickel to make a gallon of gas, charge 15 cents profit and sell a gallon of gas for $20. For 20 cents. And then it's supply and demand. What they're doing is they're holding it back,
Right.
so that there isn't enough gas to when we need it, as opposed to just making enough and realizing that if you make enough, your price.
I think that's a smoke screen and a false flag, because if you look at who owns the industry, it's them. It's the elites. They're controlling it. How are they controlling it? They created not only the stores, but they created their own trucking industry. They demolished ours when they shut the ports down. And they put people out of business by the trucks being too old and all that negative narrative bullshit. And the fact that the Canadians put on a successful boycott against their country. And what did they do to them? They violated whatever they had of a constitution, because these people, we never had a constitution in America. I know we have it, but it was never lived upon. It was never put in place through government and utilized to protect the American citizens of what the declarations were written on and upon. And if you don't have government that is willing to work for the people willingly, to protect the people willingly, then these types of things happen. So they played a long game. And their long game was to get us to this point at some point, and now it's arrived. But a lot of what we see is a control factor. It's not a gas shortage. And yes, would our country be more wealthy, and would we be able to bring the deficit down on the taxation within our own country of companies making money, pumping the oil out and putting it back into the industry here to cut the economy? Yes. And why does Trump want to do it? Because he knows that this is a smokescreen, and he has to bring back the dream screen in order for people to understand this is how the function of America needs to work. Sure. It's not that any of us are wrong, but I think we need to observe the out part of the outsources in many ways. I hope I did that a little bit, but that's really within what we're working with. And Trump is never going to be the one to tell you that UFOs exist. He will say to you, I've met with a lot of very intelligent people, and I talked to pilots, and they told me that they have seen things, and I believe they have seen things. I believe what they told me. Their credentials are overwhelmingly impressive, and you can't take it out of the picture. But one thing he's very smart and shrewd upon, because of him being the president and a man running to be president again, he is not going to declassify something without permission to declassify any of it, because he is held under certain other laws that are above the laws of a president, and he cannot talk about them because you don't have the need to know.
So who he's saying he plans to declassify the Warren Commission report on the Kennedy assassination. Is that just something that he's saying to get votes, or is it something that, like you just said a minute ago, obviously somebody above him had to say, yeah, it's okay, it's been long enough, you can
Th-
declassify it and release it to people. They have a right to know. They have a
well,
right to
this
know. But then again, Trump looks at it in press conferences and he says, if you ever get a chance to read it and you see the pictures and things that are in it, you would not want to read it. But you know, I think my mind went in 8 million different directions. He's
yeah.
saying that he intends on doing that. Is this something that he's going to do, or is it, regardless of whoever above him said no, or is it the ones like you just said, the ones above him are saying, "Yeah, okay, it's time. It's been over 50 years, 100 years. We can tell. We can tell the truth."
Well, the truth has to come out on a lot of things, but see, that's the key component. Did Trump willingly not care that he actually lost the election in ways? In ways, because that would strengthen him into where we are headed now. By releasing JFK, the Warren report, maybe they'll get into Watergate too, because I think there's some really highly credible information there on Nixon and how they whitewashed him out of the office, over him fearing for his own life. How many presidents have taken shots? you know. So what is he doing? I mean, it's pretty hard to get into his mindset to say what somebody's thinking because I'm not in his head. I'm really not in his head. But I would
Right.
say that there's a purpose behind why we had to be shown everything we are being shown. And it had to go this way, no matter we didn't like it or not. But it had to go this way in order to bring down the criminality. And as he said, retaliation and revenge is not so bad if if
Eh,
if it frowns within the acts of criminal activities. And that's why they try to punish him in his words and more. And it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I keep hearing like a voice coming over, like,
Yeah, there's something going on in the.
it's my house. It's loud. Hold on. Let me
oh,
mute. Pardon
oh.
me.
Okay,
Some
okay. I'm
no,
sorry.
no. We're supposed to be watching. We suck. We're
We suck.
watching. Sorry.
Wow. Now we know a little bit more about you.
Whoa!
No, my son
Did you use
and
that word? Whoa!
my beautiful daughter-in-law and son were married a few days ago, and we are babysitting their dog. The dog's fine, and we always joke about them being cousins. Our big golden retriever and their little chihuahua, and everything's fine. Oh, they're doing great. But my friend is at their home and watching their cats and their lizard, and everything's was good, but one of the cats passed away. And so I just heard
Oh,
that, and that was what was going on. So it's sad.
Oh.
And I'm
Oh.
like, yeah, as far as being the
I
having a
wasn't
grand
sure.
she's
I thought I was
grand
picking up somebody's baby monitor in the area.
no, Jesse was on the phone and I didn't mute it because I wanted to hear. I was sorry.
it's
One of the
okay.
cats passed.
It's all right.
It's sad. I was like a grand fur baby
Well,
grandmother.
ship
I
it
don't
ship
know.
it off to Randy. He
That's
cares
a
for the
grandmother.
he cares for the afterlife.
Yeah, we'll get a genealogy on it. It's like so sad, but it's
Okay.
okay. I wasn't. Oh, it was like the wedding was amazing. It was great, and my husband officiated because my daughter-in-law was recovering from trauma of a cult, and so it was great that
Cool.
she's free. And anyhow, I was able to give. I didn't dance with my son like a mother of the groom dance, but I did give a speech and it was awesome. And at the end I said something about we didn't lose anybody. It was about uh daughter is a daughter for life, a son is a son until he takes a wife. And I'm like, but I didn't lose anything because we
Right.
gained
You
a
gave the daughter.
daughter. and I said 4 grand fur babies. And I was talking about all the pets that we love animals, and they have 4. And then I said, "Oh, sorry, not 4, but 3 grand fur babies." One does.
Mm.
Frank doesn't have fur. He's a lizard, and it was funny, and that was the highlight. But anyhow, we lost one, and that was sad. But they have like 2 cats and this cute little chihuahua and Frank. He is a lizard. But anyhow, one of the cats passed, and that's sad.
It
But
is.
it's okay. We'll get over it.
Yeah, life goes on, as we know, no matter
Right.
the circumstances, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I just got lost a couple times. I'm like, wow, wait a minute. Am I picking up somebody's baby monitor or something? I couldn't.
Dave still wants me on his show. I'm like, no, no,
What?
it's chatter. No, I'm sorry. I don't turn off my mic. It's
That's
terrible.
okay. I don't care. I don't turn my
Yeah.
mic off either.
Baby monitor. That would be scary. You know, I am
I
terrified
used to
hearing
get yelled
baby
at on
cries.
that
I'm like,
that
what
other
is
7 p.m. show. I used to get yelled at all the time. They couldn't understand what the dogs were saying.
That's funny.
But,
Yeah, interesting.
yep.
So, where you guys want to go from here, if anywhere?
Anywhere you want to go. We're going to wrap it up at 8:30 because I told people when I did the little blurb this afternoon promoting this one that we would wrap it up at 8:30 so people could have a half an hour to figure out where on ABC they were going to watch the thing.
Yeah,
Or
the thing,
do whatever they have
right?
to do before they sit down
The
for 2 hours
thing.
and watch a debate. Are
Yeah,
you
I was
watching
actually,
it, Michael?
I was actually thinking about. I mean, I'm not going to, but I was actually thinking about earlier going live, playing it, and me sit there and doing a little commentary on the side, listening to this. And then I thought to myself, no, somebody else can do it. You know, there's plenty of people
Somebody.
out there in the world. Yeah, so tomorrow my focus was today work on bring up past notes that I had on uh 9/11 and things, and I got shows starting at 11 o'clock, and I think my last one ends at 8. I have one at 2:30. I have one I think between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long day talking about the same things over and over and collecting people's thoughts and so forth. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm proud to say I'm going to be live with an award-winning man, Brad Olson, who's connected into greater things, really good things, and I'm looking forward to that. He's been with the best speakers and lecturers in the world, and so to me, that's a privilege to have a gentleman like that come on with me, and we're going to be talking 9/11. I don't know for how long. And then we're going to get into the Antarctic and some of the ideas that are within that whole foundation of just what in the hell is going on. And that's the only way you can say it, because we know a lot of information. We know about Admiral Byrd. We know the stories. We have testimonials. People witnessed things. We had a ship cut basically in half right in front of our military's own eyes. And it's going to be interesting to hear what Brad has to tell us on that, as he lectures around the world on a lot of different things. He has books out the kazoo. I mean, he's like Jim Goodall. Jim Goodall's up to like 30 books, and I'll be doing something hopefully in the future again with him, but with Bob Lazar and Element 115. So that's going to be fun. But tomorrow's all going to be about mainly 9/11, people's thoughts behind it. And, if we don't bring it back up every year, they're not really going to do anything for anybody in that event that occurred that day. And with what we know, why would they?
Yeah. Tomorrow, we're just going to make it real simple at 10 o'clock. If you have something you want to say about it, anyone is welcome to take the link that'll be on the screen and come on and say it. Otherwise, come into the live chat and say it. And just talk about it. We'll touch on the news of the day, some stupid humorous stuff, just to keep people laughing. We've asked the question 4 times now on Boogie with the Bull broadcast, and I haven't gotten an answer from anybody. What's your favorite Pop-Tart flavor and why? It actually was like a 17-page article when I read it that actually cited different people's favorites, but we'll kick in some stuff to keep people laughing and enjoying. But we will cry uh, about it. Donna's father passed away on September 4th, was buried on September 7th, and our family, our three sons, Donna and I, were just getting back to our normal lives when the planes flew into whatever hit the towers. I don't even know if I believe it was planes anymore. What could have been CGI, I don't know.
No, they were planes. There were parts to planes, very small fragments, but yes, but there were no bodies, which means then they were remote. So we did have that technology. I'll talk about a little bit of that tomorrow. Maybe Brad will bring it up, but one of us will probably do that.
That's another question to me. That's another question in the "we thought you were dead, where have you been" answer, because I didn't know the guy personally, but a lawyer for a limousine company I worked for in Webster, Massachusetts, was on one of the planes that left Logan. I don't remember which one, but he is no longer with us.
That we know of, huh? Yeah. As you said earlier.
That's the thing that, who do you hold responsible for that? I mean, governments of the world had to all be in on that, Michael, if that's what happened, because we have what we believe were hijackers that hijacked these planes when they were in the air, and if they didn't take them into the tower because something else, highly weird, flew something into the towers, then again, it's like you said, where have all these people been? Where are they?
Well, I can't answer for everything, but I will try my best to lay out the facts, because that's all I can do. I mean, it's all any of us can do. Right. The same as when we looked at what we saw that day. I mean, a plane doesn't turn, its fuel doesn't turn a building into dust. It takes much greater forces like sulfurs and thermites, and these things create excessive heat to them up, because fuel burns at its highest point at 1,500 degrees, and steel doesn't start to melt and break down until it hits 2,750 degrees. So that's an important factor. This building went down. These buildings went down as if they were hit by 5,000 degrees.
Right. But then also the way they went down, it was like floor by floor by floor.
Yeah,
like a controlled demolition. Correct. And people have even said that maybe parts of Building 7 hit the other ones and blew them up. And I don't believe, maybe it did, but I don't believe that. Building 7 is still a controversy that I don't know if we'll ever get the answers on that, because I still want to have my day where I get to ask the owner of Building 7, you did this like a week before this happened. So admit once and for all, what did you know? What did you know was going to happen? Or did you get warning that nobody wants to be in Building 7 that day?
Well, Wilmer Bush played a big part in it. You guys may not know him. He's like a Prescott. He handled security for the buildings, and they were all the dog securities to check for bombs in New York, which happens nightly. We're not allowed in the building for almost 2.5 week period.
Yeah.
So there were things going on. Now, who was this guy? He was a guy that bought a bunch of property and invested into it, even though he knew the properties needed to be, refurbished. They all had asbestos. They had a lot of internal issues that needed to be upgraded. And here's a guy that even added on to his policy terrorism insurance and was paid double on every claim. And who was he? He was a very good friend of the Bushes. And if you want to know who really orchestrated this, it wasn't the baby of the bush, the baby in the bush, so to speak. It was Dick the Handler Cheney and Papa Bush. They were the orchestrators of it because they knew how, because of their backgrounds, what they controlled in the past, and the people that they needed to control to pull it off. And it's the same group of people basically that we are fighting against right now within the government, and some newbies that came along that were handled and conditioned to come into these roles of governors and more, and political advisories and of leadership that we have. And it's all part of that same scenario of click. But even Trump, like tomorrow, when I'm going to be playing some things that are going to come out in a way that should open up a lot of people's eyes, because a lot of fingers were pointed and pointed towards pilots who were never in the airplanes, who are still alive working. So when you hear this in front of Senate and Congress,
Yep.
and it's I can't play it, and if I try to share it, they will put me in jail as fast as you can believe, in a blink of an eye. But what they can't stop me from doing is muffling a little bit the voice and letting you hear the live that had occurred in Washington when they were confronted with this from a person from the other country, from the other side of the world, where all the blame was being finger pushed to. Because again, it was all about taking over and controlling the oil, natural resources, and the archaeology of the country. Because of bloodline, because of everything and that took place to now of everything we're seeing. And I think when you hear it, and everybody should listen to it, because it's factual information. It's out there. It's how much you're willing to research for it. And it's, I can't say enough. You have to listen to it.
Yep.
I mean, he
Wow.
called us out as a country. He used every word and every terminology you could use to call America corrupt for what they did. And I'm not saying that I know this to be factually true, but normally you don't get ambassadors and other people of leadership from other countries to come in and publicly do a display of argument that way.
Yeah.
And it did happen behind closed doors in the dark. Just like, when we look at how did this whole thing start with the Bilderbergers and United Nations and the tribunal, everything happens in the dark.
Yep.
That's why a lot of things happened in the dark that we witnessed the last 4 years. It's part of the characteristic of who these people are, the 3313.
Mm.
If the Democrats don't win this election, and hopefully we all think they're not going to, what happens if Kamala Harris doesn't deliver the presidency to the Democrats? Is that the end of her being a Democrat?
Hard to say.
They won't run her in 2028.
No, I think they're going to trying to line up. The agenda was to try to get line Shapiro up either now, which they passed on, but into the future. Again, who is he? All I can tell you is it's an eye opener when you really start to look up his ancestry.
They won't try to pull Gavin Newsom, governor of California.
There's a possibility that he could be part of a joint network of a futuristic White House, possibility. It doesn't mean that it'll factually happen. And again, I'm not a psychic. I try to analyze things as I understand them and learn them. I can't answer that, in any way at this point. But we do know Newsom is very well liked by the higher powers, and people don't think that Pelosi has power. They are oh so wrong.
I heard so.
Pelosi has power, or the people that have power listen to Pelosi?
Pelosi dictates a lot.
Okay.
Well, you have not seen her go to countries and make the rules on things while COVID and everything was going on, going to Taiwan, going to Ukraine, taking her son. She was dictating.
Yeah.
She was an authoritarian. She is part of the original network that goes back that was first putting all this into place when we needed to come together as a new world order country and so forth. And that was why Reagan once said, in the speech that he made, if we were not all, under some threat, an otherworldly threat, would we not all come together? I think he was fair warning us that the alien invasion was already in our country and it was underway. And this is now where I think Trump will be trying to create the cure for that invasion of many different scenarios going into the future. Let's hope he can get in there. I know a lot of people are, on one side or the other that he'll be able to do it. But remember, there's the power that these people have, and they'll stop at nothing. And there's, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, I know it's not 5, but probably almost nearly 4. These people are not going to just hold out their hands and say, "Okay, you got me," and that's why they're running. They're resigning. A lot of people. I signed on, but I didn't sign on for all this, and they don't want to be part of it. And their lives are not doing as great as you might think either. But again, that doesn't make news. That doesn't make news where they are now. If you could ask, where is everyone now and what they're doing? We look to find out things like that. Like you look at a Hollywood picture of a young lady, 25 years old. She was just gorgeous. And like now you look at her and say, "Oh my God, what happened to her?" Well, they're all having effects like that. And I'm not saying it's by looks, but I'm saying by an example, they are dealing with these things. And I think Trump's going to do his best. And it's going to be a very difficult task because now when you have a country that's not used to a constitution, that is used to enslaving people, it's going to be hard to change the levels of that in every city because remember, he does not really control every city. What needs to happen is they need to file paperwork of law and then activate them through military to where we can clean up the entirety of the problem and then break down the systems of all the 3, 4, 5-letter law enforcement agencies and rebuild them with better people and people with that have
the job that his attorney general is facing, whoever that person will be. If the Democrats keep the House, Jim Jordan is probably going to stay right where he is, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, because he'd have more authority than the Attorney General anyway. I don't know who his Attorney General could be.
Don't know. I don't focus around that at this point. My only focus, like I said, is to try to support the only thing we have going for us is Donald J. Trump.
Right.
And we got to hope that he does not deliver us into some type of evil. And if all he can be is a cushion for us to give us some breathing room to better set up America and hold them at bay for a few years, maybe 4, maybe 8, maybe 12, maybe 16, he is actually freeing the people of America to live free again and under a constitution that went MIA simply because from the day it was put in place, it was compromised.
Yep.
I mean, when you look at everything, you'll find that out. You look at it, you'll understand it.
Yep. All right, Jen, take a few minutes and say something, and then Michael say something, and then we're all going to go watch the debate.
No kidding. I would love to. Yeah, I would like to say be surprised. Everything today is full of surprises. And I would like to suggest that perhaps Donald J. Trump, I think he will win, but things are going to change in a weird way. We're all thinking that 45 is going to be the new 47. I am suggesting that the woman who has been, I think that I think the cabal has been controlling, she's just the mouthpiece. I think they've been controlling this since Biden supposedly won. And I don't think that it's going to end easily. I think that Biden, if he's not already passed, which I kind of think he did, I think he's going to soon, and that Kamala will be the 47th. And I think that Trump will be 48th only because he will win the election and she's going to be the filler until then. I'm just guessing this, but things are looking crazy and nothing we see is what we really believe it to be. So hold on to your voice because you still have it, American people, and cast your vote. Regardless of what happens, know that you did your part. And thank you for watching.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you came, Jen. You're welcome
Thank
anytime.
you. Thank you.
Tuesday, Thursday night. If you're awake at 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, you're always welcome to drop by then.
Yeah, that's great. I don't look as good as you guys that early. It takes a lot of work. I'm like makeup, curler, shower. It takes a hour.
I roll out of bed an hour before we go on in the morning. I brush my hair. Fortunate, if not
You're
as
so
morning,
funny.
coffee's on my desk. Otherwise, I have to moan and groan and find some other caffeine to drink to wake up. My new cognitive and speech therapist asked me all kinds of questions about the broadcast, so I don't know. She might be watching. She says she's on Facebook. I said I don't want to know that you're watching because if I see your name, I know who you are. Then I'll try to act like you. Yeah, I know exactly.
I
what I'm
know.
talking
Be my
about.
doctor, but leave me alone. That's funny.
Right.
I get it.
Okay. But anyway, Michael, you got any final thoughts before your first broadcast tomorrow?
If I was a fly on the wall, I think Dave talked to his therapist about me.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
That's
the
funny.
conversation was that because dementia is living your life in the past, my brain has gone back to different times in the 6 years that I was in radio, and sometimes college, I just did what they told me to do, and I got an A because I got great. By being a college disc jockey was a class.
Well, that might not be dementia. It might be that you are actually within frequency vibration of a different timeline. And we get put into these timelines because of how and what has been constructed on this planet within frequency tires. Maybe none of this is your fault. Maybe what you, as I'm just saying it's a possibility. You're dealing with exactly that because many other people express similarities as you do.
God told me before I left to come down here that I would be a communicator. It would be my job, not religious, not like Billy Graham's son or even Mike Huckabee or Joel Osteen. My job would be to communicate what we do or what people need to hopefully understand. And fortunately, lucky enough
that's a pretty impressive conversation. What did he look like, or what did she look like, or what did it look like?
I don't remember.
But you heard it. But you heard it in your head, correct?
I was in something that. Okay, I was in something that he was going to push down the birth canal before I popped out of my mother. So I was more paranoid that I was going to make it from where he was kicking me down to on earth to where I was going to dock and come out.
It was when he was a man trapped in a woman's body. So we don't.
There you go. Yeah, a man trapped in a. No, but you know what?
I was the man trapped inside my mother's body.
We don't talk about it. I'm just being silly. We got a debate to see. This is awesome.
Yeah, go watch the debate. We'll be on at 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Jen's time if she's awake. Randy Rose couldn't be with us tonight because one of his clients came to pay him, I believe, yesterday or today, and didn't
All right,
tell
that's not the public's business, man. Why are you
Don't
talking
tell
your
us the-
business on air?
tell us that she was ill, and Randy caught it, and that's why he wasn't with us today. So
Okay.
no, he would have
Okie
been.
doke.
Anyway, Michael, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Now there's about 23 minutes to go do whatever you got to do, pop some corn, and sit down and watch the debate.
Trump Kennedy 2024. That's all I'm
Trump
saying. Good night.
2024.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, Jen, thank you. Thanks for coming. You're welcome
See you soon.
anytime. All right,
Bye.
let's see. I'm gonna boom. All right, Jen's gone, Michael's gone. Hey, this turned out to be a pretty decent broadcast. I like very loosely scripted. You know, we have an idea, we get people on and we talk. And hopefully we talk about things that you need to hear. Again, tonight was probably a broadcast that you need to always have a pad of paper and a pen with you and write down things you hear me say or other people on the broadcast, or even things in the live chat. People say, and then after we go dark and you're sitting in your room, review your notes, and then make your decisions. I hope your decisions get you to vote for Donald John Trump to be the 47th president of the United States. And J.D. Vance as the vice president. And I hope, since this will be his last term, unless the laws change and something happens and he can serve forever, because the Democrats seem to think they were going to win and serve forever. I hope we get answers. I do. I just hope we get answers. And there's a lot of things, like Michael said, he can't tell us everything. And we probably don't want to know everything. But there's a lot that he can tell us that it's time our government tells us. Because if he wins, I think it's just going to be an overhaul of the government. You know, cutting out what we don't need, keeping what we need, getting our balance sheet in order here in the country and around the world. We need to definitely pump more oil out. We need to pump more oil out, make more gas, make more diesel, bring down the price of gas and diesel, because even trains run on diesel. Some trains run on electric for part of the way. But you know what? A wise person on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, and I don't remember who it was, said, we don't understand, but everything in this life started with some oil, or you can trace your way back to some oil. So go pop some corn, do whatever you got to do. You got about 20 minutes anywhere on the ABC network. Find your local ABC TV station, or go to abcnews.com. I don't really know. But live well, live prosperly, and vote for Trump in 2024. 47 for 24. That's about all I'm going to say. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Boogie with the Bull. Wednesday morning caffeine on September 11th will be the 23rd anniversary of 9/11. So bring your story and either put it in the live comments, the live chat, on Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, or my profile here on Facebook, and we will go from there. So our story is pretty simple, it wasn't a great time. I'll tell it again tomorrow morning. Our life was just getting back to normal, as I'm sure a lot of other people's lives were getting back to normal, because it was Labor Day weekend that we were just coming out of and getting back to work. Anyway, I thank everyone who watched. Robin Brunson was in the live chat. Michael Anthony was in the live chat before he came. I didn't know if a lot of people would watch tonight because of the debate and or other things going on in their lives. But let me take a look. 54 people watched. That's better than I expected would be watching. It might go up a little bit when the podcast hits my profile in a few minutes. Anyway, Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. You've been watching Boogie with the Bull Tuesday Night Live, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. You are welcome to take any part of this broadcast and use it on your broadcast, or take it and edit it and down and put it anywhere on Facebook that you want. The only thing I ask is that if you're another broadcaster and you're going to take a portion of something we did on a Boogie broadcast, at least invite me on when you do it so that I can at least take the blame for doing whatever you think I did and explain it to you. No one's going to take it from us and share it on their broadcast. But all you big girls and big guys, you're welcome to pop in here anytime you want. And if you're in the area, President Trump, I will enjoy buying you a cup of coffee and having you on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast someday. Anyway, from beautiful Fleming Island, Middleburg, Jacksonville, Florida, wherever the helo we are tonight, go watch the debate. It's on in 17 minutes. Good night. And